Okay, now we're live on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I tell you, literally within a few seconds of the show, right before we go on. There is a lot that I am doing behind the scenes. Of course, TikTok, you guys know, but what there is just changing this, changing that, changing Facebook, and then people are saying, "Hey, talk to me." It's like, hold on, let me just do this for a minute. Okay, everybody, I'm Bishop Long, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for, well, I don't know, for spending this Saturday with you. And hopefully we'll have I think we're going to have a pretty good presentation. We always, look, here's the deal. For those of you who don't know, from 8 to 8:30, I just goof off with Miss Wilma. And then from 8:30 on, we go right back into all your demon questions and hopefully some theology questions. We had theology questions yesterday, which I kind of like. Well, I love. Because it's not everything demon. And speaking now, of course, we have, I'm going to be talking about a movie review today, Leave the World Behind. I don't know if you have seen this movie. Someone told me about, can't remember who it was, but someone told me to watch it, and I did. It has a pretty powerful cast. Thank you very much, Chad. It has a powerful cast, and there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to do a movie review a little bit later on because I think there needs to be a lot. You could easily do a huge a dissertation, quite honestly, on this movie because there's so much information there. I mean, there's so much information and so many things that you don't see. That's also pretty cool. So a couple things before we get into the show. If you want to go to my website, bishopjameslong.com, Long.com, bishopjameslong.com. If you want to go to the church's website, that's simple too, usocc.org. Now, I will tell you, now tomorrow, of course, we have Bible study. So we're going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bible study. So if you want to learn more about Scripture, join us. We'd love to have you. Miss Wilma will be here teaching our kids Bible study. And I'll be here, of course, teaching the adults. And so consider joining us. We'd love to have you guys there. And for those of you who don't know, we take the Sunday readings, the Catholic Sunday Mass readings. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I definitely will discuss the movie review, Leave the World Behind. I'll do that later on. And also someone had asked me, several people asked me yesterday when I did the show, if I would talk about the logic behind the existence of God. Now, I have done this quite a few times already, but I understand that there's always new viewers. And so I'm not going to go through the whole diatribe, but I will go through the main points of how you can use logic for when people say there is no scientific proof that God exists. Well, that's absurd. There truly is absurd. I mean, anybody who knows anything about science would never say that because there is scientific proof that there is, in fact, a something that is a greater design of the design itself. We'll talk about that later on today. So hopefully, whoever, I forgot who it was, but several people asked about it. I said, okay, I'll do it, but you got to be here. We'll see how, hopefully, the folks have showed up. Now, also, I'm going to be putting on the website. I didn't get a chance today because I think I'm still waiting. I haven't had a time to look at the rest of the messengers, Facebook Messenger. But we have an upcoming church retreat. It's going to be in March. And it's March. Right now, we pretty much have it locked in, I think, 14th through the 17th. And as you guys know, we are not paid as clergy. We do this 100% free. And so we're going to be doing a fundraiser eventually, very soon, for our deacons who are going to be ordained to the priesthood. It's expensive. When you have flights and you have to rent a vehicle, and then of course the cost for the retreat, it's not cheap. And so if you are wanting to sponsor a deacon, that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a kind of a fundraising event. So I'm going to put it on the church's website that way, and the links, that way you can donate directly to that particular deacon. And you wouldn't, Don't donate to the USOCC. You donate directly to the deacon, and because I think that's important. So if you're wanting to do that, we'll discuss that tomorrow. Hopefully I should have all the links up for you. But we have 3 deacons who will be ordained to the priesthood, and they need assistance. They need help, and so we'll deal with that. Now, again, for just a hang tight with the questions. At 8:30, I promise you, 8:30, stay with us. At 8:30, I'll answer your questions. I've talked about the book of Enoch a lot, but you may be brand new, so welcome. And I'll address that, I promise you. But from 8 to 8:30, I bring on, of course, Miss Wilma. And we're going to, of course, you know who that, no, we're not doing that one. No. Yeah, we're not doing that special, all that other crazy, because she drives me crazy. I'll tell you what. I do have the plan for the fundraiser, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. How's that? Yeah, she was. Again, hello, Miss Wilma.
Hi, Bishop Long. How are you doing?
Oh, here we go. You're already setting it up. Yes, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Come on, what's the joke?
What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for the joke. Come on, just go ahead and spit it out.
Just spit it out.
Here we go. Spit it out.
Yeah. Did you happen to hear about the poor gingerbread man that he had to go doctor because his knee was hurting?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, poor gingerbread man. He had to go doctor. His knee was hurting. The doctor told him to try putting to put icing on it.
Welcome to Wilma's Circus, everybody. Wilma's Circus is brought to you by Miss Wilma, the main clown in the show. Oh, that was terrible, Miss Wilma. That was terrible. Oh, Gary, don't laugh. Gary, please don't laugh. No, Melissa, don't say love it. No, Nessie, don't laugh. Folks, listen, Deacon, no, Vivian, guys, Rosella, if you laugh, you don't understand. You see, you don't understand. I lose more hair than I've already lost. Now she has to explain the joke, yes. Don't I understand? Don't you get it? Don't you get it? Oh, I get it. All right. Matter of fact, I get it so much. That's it. Everybody cheers. If you got something. Yeah.
Did you know who is never hungry at Christmas?
Well, Santa Claus. Santa Claus. I don't know who's never hungry as Santa Claus.
A turkey, because he's always stuffed.
So, folks, this is number 2. And now when we hit number 3, that means we've lost our ever-loving mind. Just like Miss Wilma over here. Boy, that was terrible. That was a terrible joke, Miss Wilma. And she's probably, I guarantee, she's probably over there doing the turkey dance. Or the chicken dance. Now you got me saying turkey dance. It's a chicken dance, not the turkey dance.
Hey, did you know that Santa has 3 gardens?
3 gardens?
Yeah, Santa's got 3 gardens.
Okay.
He ho ho ho.
Man, you know what? You didn't even get a chicken dance on that one. You just completely.
He's got 3 gardens, so he has to ho ho ho.
And you felt the need to explain that one to me, did you? Well, I appreciate you. Well, thank you. Thank you for explaining.
What did the snowman order at the Mexican restaurant?
I don't know. What did the snowman order at the Mexican restaurant?
I told you.
You must have had a really good pre-show checklist before we went on the air, because I don't think you missed that one part of, what was that called again? He ordered a what?
He had
He-
this snowman. He ordered at a Mexican restaurant burritos because he was cold. That's right.
Mm.
Oh, when you're cold.
I think the donkey that you just rode in to order your burrito has just knocked itself over. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, from 8 to 8:30, we just goof off, and then at 8:30, that's when I'll answer all your questions again. Okay, so burrito, the burrito.
No, not burrito. Burritos. Got to put the burr into it.
You got to put the burr into it. Okay,
Got to put burr.
we got it.
Cold.
All right. Well, okay, we got the burritos. All right. What else you got for us?
What, did you know why don't snowmen get married?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. Well, I'm sure you're going to tell us.
They always get cold feet.
No, that's your first boo. That's your first boo. That is your first boo. Snowmen don't have feet. They're just big, fat, round little things with no feet.
Yeah, you gotta have feet.
Well, okay, so all right. We'll give her that one. It's D-.
What's he gonna do? Walk on his butt? Everybody
This
has
is-
that feet.
This is our normal conversation.
Well, I don't have no feet. I just gotta walk on my butt. I'll just scoot around.
Okay, I just had a visual of a snowman scooting along like a dog does on its rear end. Thanks a lot. Now I'll never be able to get Frosty the Snowman walking on the lawn or on the great. Now I'll never get that out of my mind. Great, you just ruined my childhood memories of Frosty the Snowman.
Do you know how to scare a snowman
Yeah, walking on its butt across the lawn.
with the hair dryer?
Okay, folks, I'm just no.
If you was a snowman and you saw a hair dryer come to you, would you want to try to get out there?
If I was a snowman, I'd be worried about more than hair dryers being taken outside. Good grief, I'd be working. Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
that's right.
Everybody doing tonight?
well, I think we're
Try
doing.
my jokes. I try to make you laugh because this whole world needs laughter. There's
I agree.
so much going on out there.
It is. It's gotten crazy, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, my goodness, can you imagine? I mean, people taking the hat of Abraham Lincoln on the statue, Miss Wilma. What do you think about that?
Oh yes, in Louisville.
Yeah.
And Abraham, somebody stole his top hat. Is missing from a bronze sculpture along with the Ohio River. They had to be strong and determined to pry a bronze from his base.
Right.
Police told the news that a line report has been filed with the department, and they are asking anyone with any information. The 12-foot statue of Abraham Lincoln on a rock was looking at the Ohio River, made in 2009. The hat was 2 feet tall and weighed 40 pounds.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was bolted to the rock in 2 places.
Yeah, it's
How in the world? Of all the things, Abraham Lincoln's hat. Come on.
yeah, it's a 12 foot statue of Lincoln. That's a big statue. It just completely, the hat was just ripped off. Well, of course it was a statue, but that's just why.
Yeah,
Why?
a 2 feet tall hat and 40 pounds.
Wow.
I just understand how they got it off because it was a bronze.
Yeah,
hat, like
right,
bronze
right.
body. I just think, how in the world do you get that sucker off of
I mean,
there?
somebody had to chisel that. I mean, they had to chisel that. I mean, that had to be that took a lot of work. And I just
Yeah, and you think somebody would have saw that.
right.
You know?
How can you knock off a bronze hat or a marble hat, whatever that's on Lincoln's head, and no one knows it or hears it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's crazy. I mean, I thought when I read that, I thought, what? I'm like, come on. I mean, I don't understand it.
Pete, it's a crazy world out there.
don't.
It's a crazy world. I'm telling you, Boom. It's cray cray.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you know reindeers has a favorite place to get coffee?
They do.
Yeah, Starbucks. Get it? Starbucks. Reindeer.
Sorry about that. You put me to sleep on that one. I'm sorry. What was the joke? No.
Did you know reindeer? You know reindeer?
Oh, I do.
You know,
Yeah.
they have
reindeer,
has a favorite place. The Starbucks.
Oh,
Cookies are a book.
okay. And studio audience, do you like that one?
Yay.
Studio audience?
Yay!
No. No.
Yeah, I gotta be pretty good. That's the first boo I got. So
That's
pretty good.
no, Princess. That is the second boo that you have. That was the second one.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. That was no. That was the second one. So good try there, Princess.
Why did the Christmas tree go to the dentist?
Well, I don't know. Why did the Christmas tree go to the dentist?
It needed a root canal. You never have the root canal?
I understand the joke. You don't have to explain it to me.
Oh, that's the funny part.
You did what?
That's the funny part I like.
Oh, that was the funny part. I was waiting for the joke. Okay, so now I get it. Now I get it.
Hey.
Hey, what?
What? Yeah, what do you get if you cross Santa with a duck?
Please tell us. Everybody's waiting on hands and knees and pins and needles and all this other stuff.
Well, you don't have to wait any longer. A Christmas cracker.
I think we definitely need to get into our. No, we need to get. No. We need. I think we need to get into our. Don't you have any? Do you have any articles? Something that maybe a little bit less crazy. Please get off the Kentucky moonshine. Please, I am begging you. No more. No more before we go. Is that right? Is that what you? Are you sure about that? That was very convincing, by the way. Very, very convincing.
Listen, my wife. I tell you, I never done it. It might look like sound like it, but I did.
That's true. That I can vouch for that. If you gave Wilma one wine cooler, and I'm telling you, she would be. I don't know. I wouldn't even. I can't even imagine what would happen. You I think would be Santa Claus on top of the roof of every single person's roof, calling upon reindeer. And where's your magic sleigh? I'm telling you, she would be gone. One, not even a full wine cooler. I think even a half of one. True story.
What's as big as a Christmas tree, but it's lighter than a feather?
What?
What's as big as a Christmas tree, but is lighter than a feather?
Now, where did you get this?
I bring it, brain.
So, okay, what one more time? What is who?
What's as big as a Christmas tree?
What is as big as a Christmas tree? People are saying what
is lighter than a feather.
As lighter than a feather. So hold on, let's see if anybody can guess it. So that's what I was saying. So what is as big as a Christmas tree?
Christmas tree, but is lighter than a feather.
So let's see if anybody gets it. Let's see.
Okay.
Well, we got to wait for a little bit because there's a few minutes. We'll see if anybody gets it. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Let's just. Oh, someone said a balloon.
No.
That was a good joke. That was a good guess, though. That was a good guess.
That was a very good drink. Yes.
Oh, that was a good. Anybody else? Akula said my retirement dream. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Aw,
Okay. Anybody else? No one? Okay. I don't think we have an answer. So what's the answer?
it's Shadow.
Sorry, folks. That's it. We do have some people who said a cloud. Now that's a good answer. Cloud is a good answer. No,
I like the cloud too. That's good.
the cloud was it? Oh, an angel's wing. Ooh.
Oh, that was pretty. That was good too.
That was. So there's a lot of good answers on this one.
That was a good. Yes, it was.
All right. Well, we
You
like
know, the trick.
we like that riddle. So we got some smart folks in here. Some smart folks in the chat room.
Yes. Okay, I got some stories.
Okay, what's your
It's
story?
almost 8:30.
Yep.
Okay. Now, when I read this, I had to reread it just to hear it right. A hound dog team, was the fastest robot on 4 legs when it ran a distance of 328 feet in 19.87 seconds.
Hmm.
A robot control and design laboratory of science developed a hound robot world record, confirmed when it broke the record for running the fastest at 100 meters by robot.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, the speed was at 11.26 miles per hour during the attempt. They made a hound dog out of a robot, and it ran that fast.
Hmm.
I saw the picture. It was like, oh my Lord. Of course, it's a robot.
Right.
I was like, wow.
I'm telling you, our artificial intelligence and computers they're just getting more and more and more involved. And we're going to talk about, matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why the Leave the World Behind movie is I think it's an important movie to watch. And because it really it opens the eyes. And we'll talk about that at 8:30. Okay, what other wonderful article do you have for us?
Well, Walmart
Mm-hmm.
is reporting they're going to do away with at least self-service checkout lines in the 2 states, Maine and Massachusetts. They're removing the self-checkout due to connect fees.
Oh.
Self-service was during in 1980s to lower labor expenses,
Mm-hmm.
but have become increasingly among shoplifters.
Yeah.
And and so if you prefer checking out with the cashier, we will continue to have that, and in Walmart.
Now you love that. You don't like those self-checkout things, do you? Like going to one of the
I really
workers.
don't.
Yeah.
I just, I rather stand in line 5 or 6 people. I just don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't hardly find that little bar or whatever it is on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And to me, now you and I went to Walmart one time, and you just slipped right through there. It's like, wow.
Well, yeah. I don't think it's that hard. It's not.
Yeah, you done that. That little thing dinged and dinged, and then you just paid it, and that was it. I was like, wow. I think I can do it, but I don't like to doing it though. I'm not much of a person. I don't like change. I just some things is good for the change. Some of it's not.
So you just don't like it because it's just stressing you. It just stresses you out, and you just don't like change.
Yeah, I just I prefer them to do it and see how much It's, of course, sometimes you get talked to pretty nice people. And I enjoy that too.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like it.
There's this one lady I meant to give her a number, But we were talking, and we got talk because I had some yarn, and she was asking about sewing and stuff, and we got talk. I mean, we stood there for a while talking because some product that she had, it wouldn't ring up, so she had asked somebody for help on it, on the price. So, but yeah, I mean, of course, I love talking anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you can get some nice people in line just to talk to and stuff.
And there is a lot of people who don't like the fact that a lot of the Walmart does this because of jobs. It takes away from, takes jobs away. So there's a lot of people who are not in support of these self-checkout lanes because it takes away jobs. There's
just like these robots. My nephew's works with some robots, and sometimes he's just standing there, make sure they're doing their job right. And it's crazy. But now, when things are heavy to lift, I do have to agree, that's pretty neat. Yeah, you don't have to lift it,
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, but I understand. I understand why you wouldn't like it. I get it. That makes sense. And there's a lot of people who don't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, some people, they like it, but me, I just rather for them to just ring it up, say, okay, well, how much?
Right. All right. Do you have any other stories you want to share with us?
I have a movie.
Okay, what's your movie?
You have any jokes?
Oh no, here's a joke. Miss Wilma.
Okay.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Thank you very much.
I'm not laughing.
You're not laughing at that joke? That was a good one.
I'm not laughing.
Man, come on. Well, I thought that was classic. That was one of the classiest jokes.
That was classy.
That was classy. That was classy. Very, very classy.
So.
All right. What movie from 1920 do you have for us?
Okay, the movie tonight. I love Christmas movies, but I watch them all year round.
True.
Tonight's movie is Elf. A baby crawled into Santa's bag.
Yeah.
And he went to the North Pole with Santa accidentally, because Santa didn't know he had him in the bag. But when he grew up, he was raised by Santa and the elves. But one day, Buddy, the elf, knew something was wrong because he was taller than the other elves. So he was down and upset. And so Santa thought, it's time to tell you, who your daddy is. So Santa showed Buddy his dad's picture. So Buddy went to New York to go find him. Now, I don't want to give it away, but this is really, everything started, funny things started happening, a lot of funny things. But this is a very good movie for everyone.
It is a good movie, but I don't think you're giving it away. You're not giving anything away. It's an older movie. I mean, I think now there's a few people who have said that they haven't seen it, but there's maybe a few.
Will Ferrell's in it.
Right.
Yes, with Elf. It is really it's a good movie. I love Christmas movies.
All year round, you do.
Yes, I mean, of course, I love Zac Efron too, and I love High School Musical and 17 Again, and I really like him. He's so cute.
Oh,
but yeah, of course, my Donny Osmond. I watch his movies.
Oh, I know Donny Osmond, Saint Donny Osmond. We can't forget that.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'm going to jump off here so y'all get to your paranormal things, and I'm glad I got to be with everybody tonight. I hope everyone has a great night, and I love all of you.
All right, Miss Wilma, and we'll see you tomorrow for our Bible study.
Okay, and that's all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Miss Wilma.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yep, she was raised in a barn. She truly was raised in a barn. Yep, there's Miss Wilma. She'll be with us tomorrow evening for our Bible study. So that we're looking forward to that. And I know that she looks forward to it. She loves teaching our kids Bible study. So if you have any kiddos and you would like for them to have Bible study, well, tune in tomorrow. We're going to be here. Let me put this up here and charge this up. There we go. So we'll be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not going anywhere. We're just, Miss Wilma doesn't like the paranormal. So she doesn't really like any demonology or paranormal questions. It gets her a little frightened. She gets a little scared. Which understandably so. But tomorrow, if you have any kids and you want to bring them in for Bible study, that would be great. She joins us tomorrow for that. We talked briefly about Leave the World Behind. It's a cool. It's a very interesting movie, folks. I did get to see it, and I have some thoughts. For those of you who don't know, it is it's a powerful movie, and I think that if you, how many of you have seen this? Have you? Let me just let you know. Let's see what. I think it's. Let me just. Well, good to see you. Good to see you. So you have not. Okay. So no, because Sharon has seen it. Great message. Yep. What movie? Leave the World Behind. Haven't heard of it, but really, okay. There's a lot of people who haven't. This is interesting. I'm going to give you some information about it because I believe now, if my memory is good, yeah, Netflix. Thank you. I was just getting ready to ask that because I was just like, where did I watch it? It was on Netflix. Yeah. Yep, it's on Netflix. I don't have feedback. People are watching. People are listening to it on feedback on Facebook and there. So you must have 2 programs open. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think we're pretty good here. So you might have 2 programs open. You might have YouTube and Facebook open at the same time. That would, everybody's saying that it's good on their end. So for those of you who don't know, society and technology. This is the synopsis basis. Basically, society and technology have advanced to unprecedented levels in the movie. However, with progress, and it's true even now, with progress comes unforeseen challenges. So in the movie Leave the World Behind, we follow a diverse group of individuals who must face the most significant threat humanity has ever encountered. Amidst escalating international tensions, an unexplained phenomena begins to unfold. Mysterious and devastating incidents occur across the globe, leading to mass panic and confusion. As government struggles to contain the chaos, a group of strangers find themselves thrust together, each possessing unique skills and perspective. Sarah, a brilliant scientist, becomes a central figure in unraveling the source of these disturbances. There is, of course, David. There is Mia. There's several people. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to ruin it. So I don't know how much I can. I don't want how much I want to tell you. Let me just pull this up here. Hold on one second. Julia Roberts is in it. I mean, Ethan Hawke is in it. There's really great. Kevin Bacon is in it, and this one was from another film there. So it's an American apocalyptic psychological thriller. It was written and directed by Sam Esmail. It's based on the 2020 novel by Rumaan Alam, I believe. It stars some really powerful, some great actors and actresses. It's a world premiere at the AFI Fest on May 12, 2023. So basically, this is what the plot is. Amanda Sanford wakes up one day and decides to take her family for an unplanned vacation to a rental house on Long Island. Now, her husband, Clay, is a professor, and her 2 children, Rose and Archie, are techie obsessed. And while shopping at a grocery store, Amanda sees a bearded man buying a large quantity of water and canned goods. And later on, while at the house, they have no internet access, and Rose is unable to watch the last episode of Friends. Now, Clay and Amanda watch as deer enter the property, and as they relax at a nearby beach, an oil tanker runs ashore. Disturbed, they return home to find that neither their television nor Wi-Fi is operable. I don't want to give too much information, the whole entire thing away, because if I do, it will destroy it for you. But I got to tell you something. There's some things in there that were very, very troubling. And I think we have to at least have that conversation, because the possibility of this happening could absolutely happen. But the scary part is that it's legitimate. I mean, there's basically two families that come together. There is an affluent white family and well, I say affluent, but I mean they're comfortable, as well as a black family, and they find themselves together in this home, or this is B&B, or they rent out a home, and they grapple with fears, uncertainties, and breakdown of communication with the outside world. And the novel is very good. I encourage you to read it. So there's isolation and disconnection that occurs. Now, there's a lot of symbolism in this movie. And one possible symbolism in Leave the World Behind could be the isolating setting of this vacation rental that this family does, that Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke does in their family, representing the character's detachment from the rest of the world. The isolation could reflect the modern day feelings of disconnection. There is racial tension there and class divide, and you have to watch the movie to see this. And it is, I mean, there is, I mean, there's a statement where, well, I don't want to get, I got to be careful because a lot of you have not seen, but there's like, Julia Roberts' character says, yeah, you own this. And it's like, yeah, they own the house. Stop being rude. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty. So this mysterious global crisis serves as a backdrop of the character's fear and uncertainty. So symbolism might be a rise from the exploration of how individuals react to the unknown. There's a communication breakdown. This movie is, what I think is scary about this movie is that the possibility of something like this happening is quite high. And that's what's scary about it. Because we are very vulnerable in this country with our water, certainly with our power grid. No question, with our power grid. Matter of fact, the FBI director, I think it was the FBI or CIA director, one of the, I can't remember who, FBI or CIA, recently testified in Congress that he sees red flags everywhere for a major terrorist attack within the United States. And this was recent. That's a problem. I mean, that is a real serious issue. I mean, for the FBI director to come out, first of all, on to Congress and say that the FBI, thank you, that's a problem. So I think this is a possibility that this could happen. And yeah, it's I'm pulling it up here. This is by Eric Tucker. FBI director has warning about terror threat in the United States, and actually makes a pitch for a spy program renewal. So the head of the FBI came out with an unsettling warning, and it is unsettling. Recently, on the terror threat of the United States, FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before Congress, saying that he has never seen so many elevated threats all at the same time, and said it hasn't been this bad since the days before 9/11. Now, recently, the war in Israel and the October 7th attack that sparked it are spurring an unprecedented number of online posts urging terrorist attacks in America. Wray, who took over as director in 2017, said that what made the current climate unique is that, quote, so many of the threats are all elevated at the same time. So Wray urged Congress to renew Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which allows the United States government to collect without a warrant the communications of targeted foreigners outside the United States. And law enforcement intelligence officials see the program as vital to combating terror attacks, cyber intrusions, espionage, and other foreign threats. Now, the program created in the aftermath of September 11th is due to expire at the end of this month unless Congress votes to reauthorize it. I don't know if they have or not. I have to look. But if Republican and Democrat lawmakers alike have balked at renewing the program in its current form, recommending a slew of reforms in competing legislative proposals that are aimed at better safeguarding civil liberties that are jockeying for support in the coming weeks. Now, Senator Mike Lee, who's a Utah Republican, said that during his 13 years on the committee, quote, he pressed multiple FBI directors about civil liberties violations associated with the surveillance program, had repeatedly been given false reassurance about the reforms being put in place. There's a lot of debate here. Here's the problem. Regardless of your political affiliation, when an FBI director says that there are red flags everywhere and that he is concerned about espionage, about terror attacks. As a matter of fact, we just recently had a slew of, online attacks from another country that is known to do this. So this is problematic. We've got to, if you have not watched the movie, watch it. And here's another that's troubling to me, isn't it? Another troubling movie. I think is it A24? I was going through the other day. I think it is. I'm not really for sure. Or maybe is that something else? It is. I believe it is A24. Let's see. I think that's what it is. It's a new movie that's coming out on, I believe it's Civil War. In 2024, it's called Civil War. That's actually what it's called. It's problematic for me that we're seeing this. Yeah, it says here the United States stands on the brink of civil war in a near future setting. Now, for those of you who want to know, Leave the World Behind, I believe was produced. I don't think it was directed, but I think it was produced by President Obama. Now, whether you like him or not, the fact that he is a former president and he produced this movie about the possibility of the power grid going down, and what would you do? I mean, when you really think about that for a moment, what would you do? I truthfully, I mean, think about the power grid completely crashing and us being so vulnerable with online attacks and cyber attacks. Goodness. I mean, the people couldn't get their medicine. You couldn't be able to get money out of the bank. You couldn't, I mean, it's a scary thing. So, yeah, it's problematic. Here's the only thing that I'm going to say, and this is not political, but I am concerned about 2024. And I am concerned about 2024 and the political climate therein. That concerns me greatly. So I pray about this. I take that anxiety when I go for my walks now, but I am concerned. Now, again, regardless, I'm not making a political statement as far as your political point of view. That's your point of view. We don't really do that here, but I am concerned, and that has been bothering me. So, but we have to keep you have to keep the faith, because if you don't, you can get so overwhelmed and stressed, and the anxiety can build up so much that it can get to a point where you feel helpless. And this is where you don't look. Natural disasters could happen at any moment, and man-made disasters could happen. But I have seen, in my over 20 years, 2 decades of being in ministry, I have seen the ugly side of human nature. but I have also seen the beautiful side. And far too often we think of the negative, but I've seen the beautiful side of humans. When people are down and out and they lose everything, they lose for tornadoes. Miss Wilma's brother, he lost everything. People were willing to jump in and help rebuild. Didn't even know him, and people just flooded to the area to try to clean up the mess. So I think we have two options there when we start thinking of either natural disasters or human disasters, human man-made disasters, such as, God forbid, the power grid going down. But I think there's two choices we have. We can either look at it in a, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing in the world, which it would be terrible, certainly. But I'm going to focus, if that ever happens, I'll have to focus on how am I going to help? Because if you get stuck in the mindset of negativity, then the negativity will, no question, it will just inundate you and will steal your joy. So you just, the movie makes you think. It certainly makes you think. Well, you know what, Skip Grace, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Why would they produce such a movie? I think because it reminds Barack Obama, whether you like him or not, is a thinker, and I think that again, whether you like him or not, that's your opinion. But I think it reminds us that we have become so dependent on technology that sometimes we lose the connection with one another. And hopefully this type of movie causes us to reflect on what life is all about. We have almost come to the point where community is online, and people, when it comes to interacting with one another, they don't know how to do it because it's easier to interact with each other online. So I think online and our social media can be a tool, but I think it has also become a codependency that's problematic. So you have to remember, there's nothing wrong with social media in of itself, but don't get so overwhelmed or overcome with it that you forget to make that connection with people, because you have to do that. Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. The last pope is actually, according to Nostradamus, is the name Peter, the Roman, which is interesting because there is actually a cardinal whose name is Peter, and he's obviously Roman Catholic. But look, I don't worry about all. I don't worry about that. Yeah, I agree, Ashley. Ashley says, I assume the Amish would adjust well. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Now, I'm going to, in a moment, I will be discussing briefly the logical scientific proof of God's existence. I've done this before. I'll do it again. I have no problem at all. No problem doing this. So and I think, was it Ashley or Ashley, did you ask about that the other day or yesterday? Right. Jay Burns, United States Marine Corps, hoorah, said, be aware. Don't be scared. That's a great advice. Great advice. My biggest problem, is this. If we lose electricity, I'm going to have one heck of a hard time going to sleep, because see, I sleep with a fan. I've slept with a fan since I was a baby. I can't sleep without a fan. I just can't. I can't do it. So I'm thinking I need some type of battery that I can charge to where, if we do lose electricity, maybe even a solar thing that can charge this battery, that I can plug up a fan, at least that I'll be able to go to sleep. That's actually what I think. Is like, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. It ain't going to happen. Are you asleep with two fans? I'm telling you, I can't sleep without a fan. Just can't do it. Yeah, I can't. I've tried. I'll be up all night long. So I'm going to have to figure out, well, the battery operated, I do have a battery operated, but they don't last long. So there's an external, I don't know what they call it, a battery. I think it's called external battery. I guess that's what it's called. But it's an external battery thing that you can plug up and you can charge it. but that will only charge for so long. So, I mean, if we're out with electricity for 3 or 4 days, I'm in big trouble. So I have been looking at these solar panel thingamajigs that you can charge up these batteries and you can put small appliances in. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm looking at, to be honest with you. I'd probably mess everything up. Listen to this, everybody. This is interesting. And we'll get into the conversation about the proof of God's existence. This is by Walla. Okay. It says here, a self-proclaimed atheist shares his near-death experience and reveals a message of hope. It says there are many unanswered questions in life, the essence of life, existence beyond our planet, and what lies ahead after death. These mysteries have perplexed brilliant minds worldwide. Hasn't perplexed me. I know what happens after death. Jesus told us, with divergent beliefs about the afterlife. But anyway, while some strongly believe in heaven or hell or reincarnation, others deny the existence of the afterlife. Okay? Proclaiming that we simply cease to exist. Well, that's absurd. However, one man's encounter during a near-death experience challenges this belief. His name was Jose Hernandez. He's an avowed atheist, and he shared his life-altering incident, transformed his perspective. I mean, completely transformed. So he had basically hit the trunk into a tree, and the impact, it said, left him with multiple broken ribs. He was rushed to the emergency room. At the hospital, Hernandez's breathing ceased, and the medical staff fought desperately to save his life. In that critical moment, he found himself contemplating God, making a promise: if you get me through this, I'll change. It was then that he noticed a mysterious presence in the room. He said, I saw a shadow standing by the door. At that point, I thought, I've endured so much in life. Perhaps it's fine to let go. At the moment the shadow touched my toe, an overwhelming sense of relief, calm, peace, and love engulfed me. He said it was euphoric. As medical professionals performed CPR on him, Hernandez claims that the shadow spoke to him. And next, he says, I found myself suspended in the corner of the room, observing the being resuscitated. A voice beside me said, think of your body as a car. This vehicle has traveled 8 million miles, and there's nothing more we can fix. It's time to bid farewell to your body. Then voice instructed me, okay, it's time to move on. And now following this, Hernandez describes a descent into a black hole where he experienced flying and witnessed mesmerizing cities, breathtaking forests, the wild herds of animals in motion. In this celestial realm, he was assured that he would be able to see his children, and most significantly, he was reunited with his father. He said, when I met my father on the other side, I realized that sometimes we may be unable to express certain things here, but elsewhere we can. Near-death experiences often share common elements, with many individuals reporting similar experiences during CPR. While some interpret these encounters as evidence of consciousness beyond the physical realm, medical professionals offer an alternative explanation. There is this professor, William Revel, whatever, and argues that near-death experience reflect brain activity during moments of oxygen deprivation. Well, obviously, he doesn't understand that there are people who are actually clinically dead for over 2 hours. And not only were they dead for 2 hours, but they were able to actually to hear the conversation of their family members that were outside. That's not oxygen deprivation, sunshine. So that's wonderful. See, this is what drives me crazy with all these biochemists, brilliant minds, and they say, oh, it's just this and it's just this. Okay, then explain to me how, in fact, someone who actually was clinically dead and their heart stopped and they flatlined and they were able to actually tell and come back and tell the family what they were talking about. They were 2 floors down. That's not oxygen deprivation. I mean, oxygen deprivation doesn't magically give you psychic abilities where you're able to know what your family said 2 floors down away from you or outside. So that's absurd. And now, in Hernandez's case, his near-death experience challenged his atheism and opened his eyes to the possibility of an afterlife. And he talks about this now. And I encourage you to go online and look at Jose Hernandez, an atheist. His story, it pretty is remarkable. Also, by the way, I appreciate someone letting me know my Facebook, I'm sorry, my YouTube page, the link now works on my website. Apparently there are people who don't necessarily like me. And they tried problems with the USOCC website. They caused problems there. And now my personal website, Bishop James Long, they tried to hack into that and mess up all the links. So I contacted GoDaddy, and now I'm paying extra for security on both the USOCC page and my personal website. It's absurd that I have to do it, but that's what you got to do. So TikTok. I strongly encourage you to go to bishopjameslong.com. Everybody. You guys right now on here, you guys are fine. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you guys are fine. But TikTok, I'm strongly encouraging you to go to bishopjameslong.com, scroll down to where it says official social media links or something, and click on the YouTube and subscribe. Here's the deal. I hope they never ban TikTok, but I believe with all my heart that this is going to be another major issue in the the presidential race. I'm just going to again, I'm not arguing for or against anybody. I'm just saying this is going to be an issue. So I think we need to make sure that if you're watching on TikTok, you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And really, I ask all of you, please do that. Just do it. Because if you don't, I can't control if they ban TikTok. So, and I don't want you to lose you guys. So please consider doing that. You're very welcome. And also, yeah, right. And here's the deal, guys. After the show, I'm going to update the USOCC website tonight before I go to bed. So it'll be later on. It'll probably be like 11. So the church, and I mentioned this earlier before I started the show, we are going to have a retreat from March 14th through the 17th. You were invited to show up. We would love to have you. It's an actual church retreat. I will be teaching some theology, and other people will be teaching as well. It's an actual church retreat. We will also have ordinations to the priesthood. And so we'll also have folks who will be making their perpetual vows to the Benedictine community. We don't get paid as clergy. And so it is expensive for our clergy to rent the car and pay for the retreat center and all that. So we're going to start a new fundraising event to sponsor a deacon. We have 3 deacons who will be ordained to the priesthood. And all 3 are Benedictines. And so I'm going to be placing their information on the website. And if you would like to sponsor them, then all you got to do, when I have it up, I don't have it up yet, but when I do, just click on the link. And you can make whatever donation that you want to each one, or to just one. If you just want to sponsor one, that's fine. That's fine. But I will be doing that hopefully today, later on. Todd Hall is in Illinois. And yeah, they have Cash App. I'll put that up there later on, guys. I promise you. But it'll be later on this evening. So check around 11 p.m. Eastern, midnight or so. And if it's too late for you, then check it tomorrow morning. It'll be there. And that way it helps them. Because it's going to be probably around $350 to $400 a person. And if they have to rent a car, if they have to, Sean has to fly from Las Vegas, it's expensive. And we don't get paid. So please, if you can, that would be a blessing. Okay. So I'll do that a little bit later on, and I'll put that in there. Well, okay. So let's talk about who was asking. Was the individual asking on TikTok about the proof of God's existence? Is she in here? I hope so, because because if not, then it's like people ask me to do it, and then I tell them I'm going to be doing it, and then they don't show up, and that's just like, come on, really, seriously. Okay, Todd Hall. It is in Columbia, Illinois. If you just simply look up Todd Hall Retreat Center, and that's where it's going to be. And we've been there before, and it's a nice location. They have comfortable rooms. They do have food service there, which is also nice, and of course they'll have the chapel, so we'll be using their chapel. So we've and they have like a little place where you can kind of walk around. It's a nice place, comfortable place. Oh, Alex, is it Alex? Alex, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Thank you, Alex. There's a lot of people who ask me to do something, and I'm like, well, I've already kind of done it before multiple times, but they never show up. And it's like, well, that's not fair. So thank you for being here. I'll do that in just a second. By the way, for those of you who've been watching videos online, because I watched it the other day in Chicago, I believe it was in Chicago, there was loud booms. It almost sounded like rockets going off. And people were like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is this? And they were freaking out. Well, there is an explanation, guys, a complete and total logical explanation. And here's what it is. This is from the Washington Post. There was a massive meteor shower that convinced people that the world was actually ending. And they really believed it was happening. So that's what it was. Astronomers said this, it was a stellar show. It produced actually up to 150 of these meteor incidents, and of course it shot, and people got scared. And actually, it says here researchers, well, there's 150 shooting stars that it says, but in this meteor shower, researchers estimate 40,000 meteors lit up the sky in a 9-hour period that lasted for several hours. And then this says as many as 70,000 shooting stars streaked across the sky. So this is what happened. So anybody, if you're going through and you're watching TikTok or any other social media outlet, and people, oh, do you hear this explosion? It's the end of the world. No, it was a meteor shower. That was it. It was a meteor shower. It's not the end of the world. It's all good. Everybody's going to be just fine. Everybody's just going to be just fine. Okay, let's talk about this because I think it's important. The proof of God's existence. And if you have questions, feel free to jump in. I'll be happy to entertain some questions. I'll be here for a little bit tonight. Okay, people who say that this whole universe is by chance. People who claim that we exist just by chance don't see the entire picture. It's all about cause and effect. If you tell someone that a pencil was created just by chance and magically appeared, they would think that you have lost your ever-loving mind, and rightfully so. These reading glasses did not come about by chance. It is absurd to even think so. We know that there had to be a designer, a creator of these glasses in order for these glasses to come into existence. Everything, the microphone, didn't happen just by chance. I didn't say, oh, I wish I had a new microphone, an updated microphone, because my old microphone was really terrible. I wish, and then it didn't just magically happen. Nope, someone created the microphone. So you understand. But yet they argue that the whole universe occurred just by chance. The chance argument, the by chance argument, it completely disregards the complexity of the design itself. It's absurd. Here's what I said when I was at Loyola University, because I did a paper on this. The complexity of the design alone clearly points to a greater intelligence of the design itself. So, because it's so complex, we know that something greater had to be in existence. That's just common sense. Remember I talked about this. Do the fundraisers get paid for fundraising? Hey, do the fundraisers get paid for? I don't understand. Do I get paid? Do I get paid for fundraising? No. What do you mean? You have to explain that one to me. I don't understand that, the U.S. Do I get paid to fundraise? Is that what you're asking? Explain that way if you would, because I'm confused. Are you talking about other people, or are you talking about, do I get paid for fundraising for our deacons? Help me understand the question, because I want to understand it so I can answer it. Bear with me for a second, because that's a good question. I appreciate the question. Hold on, everybody. Let me do this logic first, and then I'll get to your questions. I promise you. I promise. But one question at a time. One question at a time. But first, explain this, U.S., if you would, so that I can answer it. You gotta come on now, because I can't keep waiting. I mean, okay, I got to move on. Here's the answer. I don't get paid. We don't get paid at all. Nothing at all. Nothing. We don't get paid a penny. Do I get paid as a fundraiser? No, of course I don't get paid as a fundraiser. That's why you are going to donate directly to the actual deacons themselves. You're not donating to me. So that's why I'm going to put a link that has direct to them. So it helps them with the offset of cost of renting a car, of the actual retreat center itself. So because we don't charge them to be ordained. That's simony. So we don't do that. So we can't do that because it invalidates the ordination. But we have to get to the location, and because of that, obviously, and because we do not receive any paycheck at all from the church, nothing. That's what happened. So, what happened? Why was that wrong? Okay. So let's answer the question, and then I'll get to your other questions about the demiurge and all that other stuff. A single DNA cell alone within the human body contains so much complex information within one single DNA cell. And Carl Sagan, by the way, compared it to an equivalent to 100 million pages of an Encyclopedia Britannica. And that's just one small DNA cell. And that happens by chance. Now, here's the deal. If you believe in evolution, fine. The idea of a simple cell is fallacious because the human body alone is made up of 55 trillion DNA cells. And each cell cooperates with one another. Again, not by chance, but by rather an intelligent design. By the way, a microbiologist explained that if just one of those 55 trillion cells do not cooperate with the other, then it directly affects the human person. One DNA cell is the equivalent to 100 million pages of Encyclopedia Britannica information. Think about that. And we have 55 trillion DNA cells. The complexity of one cell alone is so extreme and incredible that it would be impossible that it was created by chance. By the way, mathematician Sir Fred Hoyle stated that if the universe was created by this chance theory, just thrown together by chance, he asked, what would be the chance in billions and billions of years that you could obtain basic enzymes of life by chance? And he concluded the possibility would be mathematically impossible. And he's a mathematician. So let's get into the whole idea of this whole by chance nonsense. The complexity of our planets points to a deliberate designer who not only created our universe, but sustains it even today. You see, you have to remember this. Listen to this. Listen, it gets even more cool. And I'll get to your questions in a minute. I'm answering this question. The Earth, its size is perfect. See, the Earth's size and corresponding gravity holds a very thin layer of mostly nitrogen and oxygen gases, only extending about 50 miles above the Earth's surface. You see, if Earth were smaller, an atmosphere would be impossible, like the planet Mercury. If Earth were larger, its atmosphere would contain free hydrogen, like Jupiter. And Earth is the only known planet equipped with an atmosphere of the right mixture of gases to sustain plant, animal, and human life. The Earth is located at the right distance from the sun. Consider the temperatures. We have roughly minus 30 degrees or even colder, all the way up to 120 degrees plus. If the Earth were any further away from the sun, we would all freeze. If it was any closer, we would burn up. Even a fractional variance in the Earth's position to the sun would make life on Earth impossible. So the Earth remains its perfect distance from the sun while it rotates around the sun at a speed of nearly 67,000 miles per hour. Let that sink in. It's also rotating on its axis, allowing the entire surface of the Earth to be properly warmed and cooled every single day. Our moon, it's the perfect size and distance from the Earth for its gravitational pull. The moon creates important ocean tides. Why is that important? It's important because it creates these important ocean tides and movements so ocean waters do not stagnate. And yet our massive oceans are restrained from spilling over and over continents. Water, colorless, odorless, without taste. And yet no living thing can live without it. Plants, animals, and human beings consistently most of water. About 2/3 of the human body is water. Now, that's important. It's a universal solvent. The property of water means that thousands of chemicals, minerals, and nutrients can be carried throughout our bodies and into the smallest blood vessels. Water is also chemically neutral without affecting the makeup of the substance it carries. So water enables food, medicines, etc. Water freezes from the top down and floats so fish can live in the winter. 97% of the Earth's water is in the ocean. But on our Earth, there's a system designed. Listen, now this will even more blow your mind even more. I'm not answering any more questions. I've already said it. I'm going to answer this question. People are very rude. I've already said I'm answering a question. I'm not answering any other questions until I'm finished with this, period. If you don't like that, then there's other channels you can go to. See, this is the problem when you answer someone's question and then they get ticked off because you're not answering theirs. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Okay. But I'm going to answer this question. You know, on our Earth, there is a system designed which actually removes salt from the water, and then it distributes that water throughout the globe. Evaporation takes the ocean waters, leaving the salt, and forms clouds, which are easily moved by the wind to disperse. You got to have water over the land. You got to have for vegetation, animals, people. It's a perfect system of purification. It supplies and sustains life on this planet. And then people want to say that's by chance. The human brain, simultaneously processing an amazing amount of information. Your brain takes in all the colors and objects you see, the temperature around you, the pressures on your feet against the floor, the sounds around you, the dryness of your mouth, even the texture on your keyboard. Your brain holds and processes all your emotions, thoughts, and memories. At the same time, your brain keeps track of the ongoing functions of your body, like your breathing pattern, eyelid movement, hunger, everything. The human brain, by the way, processes, now get this, it processes more than 1 million messages a second. Your brain weighs the importance of all this data, filtering out the relatively unimportant information. That screening function allows you to focus and operate effectively in the world. Your brain functions differently than any other organ. There's an intelligence to it. the ability to reason, to produce feelings, to dream, to plan, to take action, to relate to other people. The eye, listen to this one, this is even crazier. The eye can distinguish among 7 million colors. It has automatic focusing, handles an astounding 1.5 million messages simultaneously. And people tell you that this is all by chance. You see how absurd that sounds? So I'll try to turn the chat back on. We'll see how people... Astrophysicist Robert Jastrow, it's a self-described agnostic, stated this: the seed of everything that has happened in the universe was planted in that first instant. Every star, every planet, every living creature in the universe came into being as a result of events that were set in motion in the moment of a cosmic explosion. The universe flashed into being. And this is what he said: we cannot find what caused that to happen. Well, we have the answer. I mean, it's not that hard. There is so much information. There's a dissertation that I could do easily. I've talked about the DNA alone. And we know that God exists just by that. I mean, if you look at causation, God provides the best explanation for the existence of the universe. God provides the best explanation for abstract notions such as numbers, mathematical formula, chemical-based process, natural law. God provides the best explanation for the absolute complexity inherent in the cosmological, stellar, planetary, chemical, and biological systems, the design, the encoded instruction in the DNA, the irreducible complexity. Listen to this. That's all good. God provides, and this is not everybody. It's the trolls. It's the trolls. You know, and you guys are not the trolls, but they've left. God provides the best explanation for a fully functioning biological organisms, systems, and subsystems that couldn't come about through gradual evolutionary process without totally ceasing to exist at a lower evolutionary levels. The duality. God provides the best explanation for the separate human functions of the brain and conscious, matter and mind. Morality. God provides the best explanation for the existence of love, emotion, altruism, and inherent moral, ethical value throughout the world. People say, can you prove that God exists? Well, there are two distinct questions here, and the second follows logically from the first. But before we start, let's resolve this issue. What is proof? In asking this question, we're basically saying, what kind of proof will be good enough? How much proof is needed? When we talk about proof, we're talking about establishing some degree of certainty about something. Scientific knowledge is based on repeated observations. But scientific knowledge is only one kind of knowledge. Other kinds includes historical knowledge, philosophical knowledge, moral knowledge, personal knowledge. These types of knowledge lie outside the bounds of scientific knowledge. So we can now restate two questions that I mentioned. Is it reasonable to accept that there is a higher being behind this universe? If so, how do we know what or who the higher being is? That's a fair question. It's fair questions. There are many different arguments for the existence of God. The argument from design. As I talked about, when we look at anything that has a design, we rightly conclude it had a designer. Somebody designed chairs for a purpose. Somebody designed a glove to fit over a hand. The universe, and particularly human beings, show an unbelievable amount of design. There has to be something more greater than the design itself. Well, it's not pure faith. Pure faith, I mean, I just giving you scientific knowledge. I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about, pure faith. It's not pure faith. Anyway. Okay, pure faith. This is pure faith. This is pure faith. The beyond cause has to be at least as complex as the universe. That has nothing to do with faith. That's logic. In all the universe, the most complexity is found in the human body and specifically in human personality. This means that the cause of this universe must be at least as personal as we are. That has nothing to do with faith. That's right. That's right. The idea that that God doesn't exist is beyond preposterous. I just talked about the DNA. I just talked about how one small DNA cell is the equivalent of 100 million pages of Encyclopedia Britannica. One small DNA. We have 55 trillion. If one of them does not cooperate with the other 55 trillion cells, then that will directly affect the human being. But somehow it does. I've talked about the complexity of the universe itself and how, in fact, there is order to it. That scientists cannot explain. If something is just created by natural, well, then it makes that it doesn't have to follow any type of law of order. It does. The universe does. That has nothing to do with faith. That's logic. I mean, it's like I said, when you can go on and on and on. We know the causation. So let's talk about some scientific examination, shall we? God provides the best explanation for the existence of the universe. See, the alternative theory that people say, well, this is all faith. The alternative theory is that nothing exploded and resulted in everything that we see. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Order. Well, in my opinion, God provides the best explanation for abstract notions. I've talked about this. Duality. I've talked about matter and mind. It seems that no matter what you talk about, the cause and effect, everything we think of which we encounter, has been caused by something. Every effect has a cause. In something as complex and awesome as the universe, there is no difference. The Big Bang Theory does not destroy this argument. I have no problem with the Big Bang Theory. But something began that. And we refer to that as the unmoved mover, God. Even ontology. The argument from ontology. Have you heard of this before? Let me tell you what it is. There is a concept of something. This implies that the something does exist. So, for example, there is this popular concept of true love. Although this concept might often seem elusive, the fact that we have the concept of true love in our heads points to the real probability of the existence of true love. Because here's why that's important. Logic has nothing to do with faith. Because we know we are not perfect, but yet we have the idea of perfection. Therefore, something must exist that is more perfect than us. Ontology. We are not perfect. We have the idea of perfection. Therefore, it must exist. Again, I've talked about morality. The sense of when you're talking about just evolution and that it just happens by chance, then morality, you can't explain morality. Can't explain it. There would be no reason to have morality. There would be no reason to be drawn towards God. No reason at all. But yet morality exists. The sense of morals, which most people have built in, points to the existence of what? A moral maker. More than this, the other option of evolution has no way of explaining how morals came from pawn slime and ultimately from nothing. See, these arguments on their own, and even collectively, cannot possibly prove that God exists. However, they prove enough of a starting point to accept that there must be a higher being of some kind. I think so. Okay, that's right. A cake mix can't bake by itself. The beyond cause argument. In all the universe, the most complexity is found in the human body. I've talked about this. In the human personality. there it goes. We can go on and on and on, but nothing. I understand that nothing that I say right now is going to, for some people, they will not they will not acknowledge it. They won't, no matter what. God himself could come down and say, I exist, and people would still reject. Oh, that's right. It already happened, hasn't it? And people still reject it. No. What are you going to do? Okay. So now I'll be happy to answer other questions if you have them. Oh, someone was asking before I started on that question about the Gnostic Gospels and mentioning about the mythos and talking about demiurge. Actually, I did a presentation on that just recently. Folks, please. So we're here Sundays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do Bible study Sundays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And for the first hour, we strictly focus on the readings, and then usually the second hour, I will teach about a topic. These topics I have taught about ad nauseum. I have taught about them so many times. Now, you may have just stumbled on my platform for the first time. So Sundays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m., we'd love to have you. So here's the question. I just talked about the demiurge. I just talked about, a matter of fact, I did a presentation on Gnosticism. Just did it. For those of you who don't know, it's a Gnostic Gospels. They're a collective of ancient texts that it provides a perspective. And this was fair. It's true that Gnostic Gospels offer a different viewpoint of the Christian mythos that you're referring to. It is important to note that they are not considered mainstream Christian beliefs. So the term Gnostic refers to the Gnosticism movement, which emerged even in the early church. One of the key ideas of Gnosticism is the concept of the divine being, known as the demiurge. Now, according to some Gnostic beliefs, the demiurge is a lesser deity, or even a false god, who created the physical world, while a true divine being, often referred to as the unknown God, exists beyond the material realm. And in these Gnostic teachings, it exists beyond the material. What happened is the demiurge is often associated with God of the Old Testament, whom they view as an imperfect or even malevolent creator. So everything of the physical world is evil, and everything of the spiritual world is good. And this is heresy. So it's absurd. The physical world is not evil. And there is no demiurge. There is no gnosis. And there's a lot of Gnostic teachings that's occurring now that are heretical. And so this idea that the ultimate God, the unknown God, only focuses on the spiritual and the physical is all evil. Well, that's absurd. Then that denies the divinity of Christ. Because if that is the case, and you argue, in fact, that the unknown God focuses only on the spiritual and denounces the physical, then he certainly would not incarnate into a human. Of the physical aspect, we see that's the key right there, isn't it? Because Gnosticism teaches that Jesus really wasn't God. He just appeared to be. And then even when he was crucified, that the divinity of Christ left him. That's absurd. Correct. It's absolutely absurd. So Gnosticism is heretical. I do not, and not only that, but then even some Gnostic beliefs will begin to start teaching you that you are God. Even there have been some preachers that have said, well, I'm Jesus. And when we talk about the world and create the spiritual thing, you can thank me. You're a heretic. So no, it's don't get caught up in that. It's crazy. It's really dangerous. I think it's really dangerous when you start getting into this, because the teachings, I mean, they try to sugarcoat some things, but when you start learning about Gnosticism, you learn that it's problematic. Well, I've talked about the Book of Enoch a lot. We just talked about it. The Book of Enoch there's a lot of problems with that. Micro and macro evolution. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. MC, in a nutshell, MC Michelle, in a nutshell, the Book of Enoch places the blame of sin on demons, and they take the culpability, the responsibility away from humans. Furthermore, it's very Gnostic, and they have this endless genealogy that even St. Paul talks about, and they talk about the Nephilim. The Nephilim, as I've said this so many times, the Nephilim were not the offspring of demons and women. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4 says that very clearly. It says that the Nephilim existed before and after the sons of God had relations with women. Sons of God were children of Seth. He's the third child of Adam and Eve. They were not demons. Jesus said that demons neither marry nor procreate. And Genesis 6, verse 4 tells us that the Nephilim existed before and after. In the Greek translation of Scripture, the Nephilim means fierce warriors. It has nothing to do with demons or the offspring of angels and women. That was nonsense that was created for the sole purpose of selling books and DVDs. Microevolution and macroevolution. For those of you who don't know, when you're talking about, those are two different levels of biological evolution. So if you don't know what microevolution refers to this, it refers to the changes that occur within a population over like a relatively short period of time. These changes can be observed like within a species and involve like variations in the gene pool, such as the frequency like of certain traits, personal traits. Microevolution also is driven by mechanisms such as mutation and genetic drift, gene flow, natural selection. Natural selection is very dangerous because when you have natural selection, that's overman mentality. That's Nietzsche. And the natural selection means that the weak are removed, that they are a burden to society. And there is a particular World War II leader, whom we will not name here, who lost the war, absolutely strongly believed in Nietzsche, that the weak are removed. That's a problem. That's a natural selection. Examples like a macroevolution process include the development of the antibiotic resistance in bacteria. Now, when you're talking about macro, that's M-A-C-R-O, macroevolution, it refers to the larger scale patterns in the process of evolution, like over a long period of time. So like it involves new species. So it involves like broader changes in organisms, such as like the development of new structures, new body plans, the diversification, if you will, of major group of organisms. And some examples of macro evolutionary events like include the development of wings in birds, or the diversification of mammals after the extinction of dinosaurs. And even some fish that are able to crawl on land, which is pretty interesting. So, but it is interesting when you see species are able to adapt to their environment, or in the microevolution cosmos in the world that they are, and if they don't adapt, then they are removed. Okay. That's right. Yeah, Father Tommy. That's right. Demons. Father Tommy says demons want you to sin but cannot make you. That's the truth. Very, very true. I don't believe in reincarnation. Reincarnation doesn't make sense to me. Makes no sense. Reincarnation is really ultimately the concept that the universe ultimately will recycle you over and over and over and over until you eventually get it right. Well, that's a problem. Because it really, again, takes the responsibility and culpability out of our hands and says, well, the universe will take care of it. If I mess up on this, in this life, no problem. The universe will just recycle me and throw me back in. And hopefully I'll get it right again. That's a little bit of an issue for me. Not only is that an issue, but it also, the idea that when we pass on, and I've said this before, if I see heaven and I'm welcomed in heaven, why on earth would I want to come back? Now that doesn't make sense at all. I wouldn't. I mean, the ultimate goal, right? From my opinion, the ultimate goal is to get to heaven. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. And if I'm there, I'm not going to say, I'm going to go down. I'm going to go do this again so I can worry about stress and anxiety and this and that and body failing and dying. No. I'm not going to sign up for that one. So to me, and not only that, but see, I used to teach kids with learning and behavior disorders in the public school system. Here's the big problem. Well, there's a lot of problems I have with evolution, with reincarnation. If the whole point for you to get it right, okay. But as I said this before, and many times, if you don't know the mistakes that you made in your previous life, then you're doomed to repeat them. So that doesn't make sense to me. So if the whole point is for me to get a passing grade, if you will, or do the right thing or live the right way or whatever it might be, and why I have to go back and be reincarnated, well, if I don't know what I did wrong in my previous life, well, then how is that going to help me in this life? It's a bit absurd. At least tell me something that I did wrong. So I disagree. I'm not a fan of reincarnation. Now here's the big question. Is it possible? See, the difference between is it possible versus is it forced? I don't believe it's forced. Is it possible? Well, that's a different animal altogether. But I'm just thinking, if the ultimate goal is to get to heaven and you're there, then why would you come back? I don't know. I can't understand that. So, oh Lord. Yeah, see, Rich, this is what I'm saying as far as free will. And that's what I mean by that, as far as there's a difference between being forced, which I don't believe in forced reincarnation. Now, is it possible that that could be an option? Well, I mean, that can be debated. I'm open at least to having that conversation and learning a different perspective. I could hear a logical explanation for the possibility of that. However, if you're going to argue scripture, then from a theological perspective, it's not an option, because this is it. So this is where you get into the theologian side of me says, nope. So it's a one and done thing. This is it right here, this moment. So that's a big issue there. Yeah, Dolores Cannon also says a lot of things that are absolutely incorrect, 100% incorrect. I'm not a fan of Dolores Cannon at all. There are a lot of things that she says that, in my opinion, or said that's heretical. Well, again, that's fine. If you believe that, that's fine. I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation. From a theologian perspective. Now, if I were not a theologian, then I can understand the argument, but more like penance to have to return. But see, here's the problem. Even if you argue from a theological perspective about penance, fine, but you still have to know what you did wrong in order for the penance to actually be completed. So, for example, when you go to confession and you do something wrong, you do something wrong, you're reflecting on the evil that you've done, the sin that you've evil, and you do a penance because you know that you've done that wrong. You don't want to repeat that act. But if you're going to be reincarnated, then you have no idea what the sin was that you committed in your previous life. So therefore, the penance almost becomes irrelevant, because the whole point of penance is to reflect on the wrong that you've done. and try to do better so that you don't repeat the action. So, yeah. What about those souls? Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Dolores. Yeah. What about the souls in the Gulf? GUF. Have you ever heard of that, everybody? You know what I'm talking about? Issa is asking, what about, there's a lot of people asking questions, guys. So again, please understand that I'm getting questions on Messenger. People are sending me questions other places, and I have two computers running at the same time. I got Spreaker, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I got TikTok. So if I don't answer your question, I'm not being rude. It just, there's a lot of people asking questions. What about the souls in the Gulf? The GUF, the GUF. For those of you who don't know what the GUF is, it's also known as the Treasury of Souls. It's rooted in Jewish mysticism. So what this belief said is this: the Gulf, it's a spiritual realm where all souls are said to dwell before being born into physical bodies on earth. It is believed, according to this theory, that the Gulf, GUF, is where all souls are stored until the right time for them to be brought into existence. So the belief is that these souls that reside in the Gulf are believed to be awaiting the opportunity to fulfill their purpose and carry out their spiritual journey on earth. And the belief is that each time a person is born, a soul is taken from the Gulf and united with that person's body. So the concept of the Gulf, it really serves to emphasize the idea that each individual's soul is unique. It has a specific purpose, obviously in the world, and it also suggests that all souls are interconnected and that they are, kind of constantly being replenished as new souls. So that's the theory of the Gulf. If you believe that, you're right. I don't believe in the Gulf, but anyway. The movie Soul is roughly based on this belief. Oh, okay. It's an animated film about a jazz player, Jamie Foxx. Okay. Oh, you want to know what problems are? Yeah, I'll tell you some problems. I'll tell you some theological issues with it. Ultimately, this is okay. Look, if you want to be blunt about it, it is a celestial storehouse. That's what it is. It's not widely accepted or recognized within the science, even the scientific, or obviously in many religious communities. Again, it's that there's a celestial storehouse or a repository where all souls are stored before they are born into physical bodies. Here's a couple of issues. One problem with the theory of the Gulf is a lack of empirical evidence. I mean, there's no scientific proof or observation to actually support the existence of celestial storehouse or the idea that souls are stored there before birth. The lack of evidence makes it difficult to obviously take the theory seriously. Another problem is that the theological and philosophical implications of the theory. You see, the theory of the Gulf is often associated with religious ideas such as predestination and the concept of predetermined fate. These ideas, by the way, can be controversial, and they are, and raise questions about free will. And now further, if you think about the Gulf, the theory of the Gulf, it raises questions about the origins and natures of souls then. If souls are, here's why, if souls are stored in a celestial storehouse before birth, where do they come from? Are they created anew for each individual, or do they exist eternally? So these are complex and metaphysical questions, obviously, that can't be easily answered, and that's fair well. But I don't believe in the theory of the Gulf or the Gulf theory. No, I don't believe in it. I just talked about the reincarnation. Don't believe in it. Okay. Any other questions that you guys might have? What I'm going to do, now this, I'm not getting off right now, but this tomorrow, I'm going to finish up the 10 Commandments. I depends on how much time that I have left. I might discuss about people stating that the Jesus narrative was stolen, or that was stolen from Horus, the Horus story. And we'll talk about that, or Mithra, or Krishna, or Dionysus, and all this other nonsense, just ridiculous, idiotic arguments. So it depends on how far we get tomorrow. That I might discuss that. It will be either tomorrow or it could be Wednesday, because there's a lot of arguments that the Jesus narrative was stolen from Greek or ancient mythology, and it's so preposterous. I know you asked the question, but there's a lot of people who ask questions. Again, there's a lot of people who ask questions. The movie Soul says, if you were accomplished on Earth, you get to be a mentor for new souls, people whom pass on after 9 lives. Oh, come on. Now we're cats. Is it okay to turn the other cheek? Well, certainly. Yeah. Okay. When I say, is there any other question? What I mean by that is ask the question, because if I don't see it, that means obviously I didn't see it, because I have a computer here, I have a computer here, I have a computer here. And so I am looking at all these different chats, and I'm not an AI. I'm unable to look at every single question that someone asks. So when I say any of the questions, that obviously means that I didn't see your particular question. I do the best I can. So ask the question. The seventh sign. Oh, the seventh sign. Yeah. And I've talked about that ad nauseum. I just talked about that yesterday. No, Christmas is not pagan. Oh, is it okay to not turn the other cheek? Well, I mean, you have a right to defend yourself. I mean, that you do have that right to do so. So, I mean, as a matter of fact, there's a term called principle of double effect in ethics. Well, thank you very much there. Is it hi there? Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. So there's a principle, there's an ethics term called principle of double effect. So in those cases, and those, yeah, you absolutely have every right to defend yourself. You know, you don't want to harm anybody. Certainly you don't want to harm anybody, but at the same time, you have the right to defend yourself. So I would encourage you to Google that. Yes, Josephus did mention there are historical documentation from non-Christian historians who actually write about Jesus. As a matter of fact, even like I said before, even some of the most intelligent atheists will tell you that historically we know Jesus existed. I mean, there are clear documentation from non-Christian writers that refer to Jesus. Please read your messages. Which messages are referring to? Is that for me or for someone else? to the Middle East? I don't understand the question. A lot of these questions are, I think, just to are bait questions to get into debates, and I'm not interested in that. Oh yeah, well yeah, Jesus was born in Bethlehem, which is it's located in the Middle East. By the way, that's known as the West Bank. So it's a modern day Palestine. So yeah, we are all chosen ones. Yeah. I'm looking at something here because I want. And of course, I can't find it. It's all that's why it's always like that. When I'm trying to find something, it's like, nope, can't find it. Yeah, we will talk about heresies, and we're going to do that. I've been saying that we're going to do that. So, yep, I do believe there's a hell. Sorry, I'm trying to find this really quick. Yeah, I do. You know, the scripture simply doesn't say where Jesus was during those times of absence. We can just logically say that he obviously, I mean, Joseph was a carpenter. Oh, you're welcome, David. So he was a carpenter. So obviously he would learn the trade of his father. But yeah, I'd absolutely believe that hell exists. Well, thank you there, Michelle Poor. I appreciate that. I know there's. Thank you, Christine. No, there's no. There are a lot of theories out there regarding India as to whether Jesus traveled to India during his lifetime. There are some beliefs that he may have traveled to study with spiritual teachers in India during those lost years that you're referring to. We just simply don't have any concrete historical evidence supporting the claims. And so, you know, it would be interesting to find out, but we just simply don't have that information, which is unfortunate because it would have been interesting, but we don't. Do I believe in witchcraft? I believe that witchcraft exists. Well, hello there, Your Grace. Well, Jonathan, that's a good one. So Jonathan says a Catholic priest had told me that St. Thomas Aquinas and Augustine believed in predestination. God chooses who will be saved before giving them a special grace. He's estimated that only 10% get to heaven and 90% go to hell. Oh, Jonathan, you kind of missed the boat there, sunshine. I mean, you got a little bit of it right, just a little bit of it right. And as far as St. Aquinas actually believed in predestination. However, he taught that God's divine providence encompasses and oversees all things, including the salvation of individuals. Aquinas also he believed also that God's predestined certain people to eternal life based on eternal decree, but also taught that humans have free will and are responsible for their choices. You're getting the confusion with God knowing versus God predestining to, like, we're Sims and we have no autonomy. You're getting those two things confused. Does God know what we're going to do 20 years from now? Certainly. But there's a big difference between God knowing what we're going to do versus God forcing us to do those things. Two different things. So that's a little bit of a tweak there that you have to argue and you have to incorporate in the argument there. I mean, Aquinas, he was an interesting Aquinas, I would encourage you. I would encourage all of you, if you've not read the Summa Theologica, I would encourage you to read it. There are, it was, personally, I like it, but that's, I understand that, but there's no, we have no proof of that actually happened. So what do you mean, Mark? That's right. There's a difference between God knowing versus God forcing us. Those are two different things. Completely two different things. And I think that's where people get confused with God having the knowledge versus God actually forcing. That's concerning for me, because then the concept of free will completely is thrown out the door, which I have a little bit of an issue with. just a little bit of an issue there. Okay. I am trying to, people are asking. Now, I've already talked about homosexuality. I talked about that yesterday. And I have already made it abundantly clear that it is incorrect translation. And I find it, again, I've had a conversation just yesterday, but I find it odd, troubling, concerning, irresponsible, illogical, and I think intellectually dishonest to take parts of the Holiness Code and then use that to judge and condemn a group of individuals when, in fact, there are 613 laws in the Holiness Code. If you're going to, again, cherry pick, Jesus actually says in Revelation that he speaks to the Pharisees, because the Pharisees would always judge and condemn other people because they didn't follow the 613 laws. However, they themselves were not following those laws. And Jesus said in Revelation that he does not like people with lukewarm faith, and he vomits them out of their mouth. And certainly the Pharisees did. So I just find it peculiar that people who say that they're Christian and they live under the new covenant are still cherry picking the Holiness Code to judge and condemn a group of individuals when they themselves don't follow the other 613 laws. We're following then the footsteps of the Pharisees. We've got to be very careful with that. And Jesus was very clear about what he thought about the Pharisees. It's actually very clear. So the idea that you're going to take certain passages from Scripture, especially the Holiness Code and the Old Covenant, which, by the way, we're no longer under, Jesus made it very clear, I think he made it quite clear. There are two rules that you have to follow, because it was impossible for us to complete and to observe all 613 laws. It just simply was not possible. But yet the Pharisees loved to preach about how holy they were and how wonderful they were, and everybody else was going to burn in the fiery pits of hell. But yet they weren't, even though they weren't following the 613 laws. That's the perfect definition of hypocrisy. But Jesus made it very clear. You're to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and body. Oh, and by the way, you're to love your neighbor as yourself. Yeah, see that little part right there. If you're cherry picking and you're going to use the Old Covenant to judge and condemn a group of individuals, for example, individuals who have tattoos. Oh, they're going to burn in the fiery pits of hell because they have a tattoo, because it says you shall not mark your body, etc. Okay, then I'm going to judge you based on the fact that you're wearing clothing with mixed cottons. I'm going to judge you based on the fact that you eat shrimp or pork, or that you didn't blow your trumpet during Yom Kippur, or that you didn't burn your furniture when your wife or girlfriend, whoever, was on the menstrual cycle, as it says in Scripture. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. So you got to be very careful about cherry picking which particular law, the Holiness Code, that you're going to use, and then to justify that to condemn a group of individuals, which quite honestly is preposterous. And I think intellectually irresponsible. I think it's intellectual fraud. And it's certainly spiritually fraud. Once saved, always saved. The problem with that is it implies that no matter what you do, you can never You can do anything in the world. It takes free will out of the equation. So therefore, can the person, because it also takes free, I think free will exists even outside of death, because I think heaven is presented to you. We know that free will existed because if you believe in the concept of demons, then we knew that angels freely fell from heaven. So therefore, free will must exist in heaven. So the idea that heaven is forced upon you, well, that kind of eliminates the whole concept of free will, even in heaven. So if free will exists in heaven, we know that free will must exist to us as far as whether or not we want to accept the invitation to heaven. So I think the idea that once you're saved, you're always saved, it implies that nothing, that you can just, no matter what, you can just read, that if once saved, always saved. Let me ask you this. Can you reject God? Yeah. You have that right to reject God if you want to. I think it's a stupid decision, but you do. It's almost in alignment, when you're a paranormal investigator, some of you are, and you think, well, I'm going to surround myself with white light, and I'm going to go out to a location that's known to be demonically infested. Nothing's going to happen to me, even though I've just given the invitation for, hey, demon, if you're here, push me, bite me, pinch me. You can surround yourself with white light all day long. The demon doesn't care about what your little white light that you surrounded yourself, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. So you can't be into a location and there's demonic infestation, and then you invite. Well, I've surrounded myself with white light, nothing can happen. Well, watch and see. Watch and see. So people have got to be very careful with that mentality. I completely disagree. I've never met Father Morth, no. Well, good to be here. I'm glad that you're here, Kali. The sun up there? If free will exists in heaven, will people have the capacity to sun up there? I hope so. You mean to get a tan? No, I don't think we will lose our salvation in heaven. I'm just look, folks. Here's the problem. Here's the issue. I do believe in the concept of hell, but I think we have far too many people, far too many preachers who love to preach fire, hell, and damnation. But that's a form of control and manipulation, by the way. Does hell exist? Certainly. But I think an all-loving God would allow hell to exist. And a compassionate God would allow a hell to exist. Why? Because it would not be compassionate. It would not be all-loving to then force someone who choose to freely reject God completely to then be in God's presence. That, to me, is not a compassionate God. So I think certainly there is a place. Now, we can debate as far as what that place looks like or what it is, etc. I don't want to be there at all, and I don't want any of you, I don't want anyone to be there. That's yeah. I mean, no. Someone on Messenger is saying you're selling propaganda. There is no proof that Jesus exists. Okay, and you're obviously selling a lack of education in history, because there's plenty of proof, historical proof, that Jesus exists. That's all, even. Okay. The first century Roman Tacitus actually was considered one of the most accurate historians of the ancient world. Mentioned actually superstitious Christians is what he said, from Christus, which is Latin for Christ. He actually stated that he suffered under Pontius Pilate during the reign of Tiberius. Flavius Josephus was also a very famous Jewish historian writer, and in his Antiquities, he actually refers to Jesus being existing. Julius Africanus, the historian Athalius, in the discussion of the darkness that followed the crucifixion of Christ. Pliny the Younger, in the letters of chapter 10, verse 96, recorded early Christian worship practices, including the fact that Christians worship Jesus as God and were very ethical. So again, I can go on and on and on. I mean, we have clear historical documentation from non-Christian sources that establish that Jesus absolutely 100% existed. Now, you can argue whether or not you believe he is God. Okay, you can argue that. Fine. Argue it all you want. But as far as the belief that he existed, yeah, we have it's pretty strong historical evidence that there is something there. There's that he exists. He exists. Oh, you love philosophy. Someone's asking about. Oh, okay. So someone's asking about when it is a situation is not an evil act or considered a sin. So an act. So if you commit a sin or if you commit an evil act, how can it not be a sin or something of this nature? If I'm understanding the question. Well, Aristotle actually argued there are 5 limitations of human freedom. And those limitations are force, fear, passion, habit, and ignorance. So for example, force. Someone forces you to do something that you don't want to do. Rob a bank or whatever it might be. Fear. You do something out of fear. Passion. You fall in love with somebody. And Aristotle argues that actually limits your human freedom. Or habit or ignorance. Now, when you're talking about ignorance, there are 2 types of ignorance. There's a blamable ignorance and unblamable ignorance. The difference between those 2 types of ignorances is, for example, I choose to remain ignorant about this topic. Unblamable ignorance is I wish to learn, but I'm not able to, or I just simply don't have that information. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers the question. I don't know. What is intellectual fear? You must be a philosophy major. Intellectual fear is, for example, you're afraid of losing your job, and so you sabotage other people's work so that you can look better. And of course, you discover the problem, and the boss awards you the prize of promotion. So that's what's called intellectual fear. Yeah. What? Oh, you want to know? You are a philosophy major. So someone's sending me messages on Messenger. Yeah, a lucid interval and erroneous conscience. Gosh, these bring me back my Loyola days. A lucid interval is what is called it's losing all mental capacities for a moment. It's otherwise known as temporary insanity. That's lucid interval. Now that is different than what is called erroneous conscience. A person, for example, a person who has an erroneous conscience judges an evil as good and good as evil. So they have an inability to properly judge a situation. For example, this is a perfect Robin Hood. Robin Hood people would argue that Robin Hood had an erroneous conscience. Rob from the rich to give to the poor. Although the act giving to the poor is good, how he obtained the money was obviously an evil act. But according to the theory, he had an erroneous conscience. No, more than the 144,000 will be saved. Yeah, actually, I taught that. Yeah, I taught that when I taught seminary, not Revelation. Can we also ask for forgiveness for other sins as well as our own? I don't understand, Mark. You'll have to explain that one to me. Can we also ask for forgiveness for other sins as well as... Oh, you're talking about asking... well, it's called intercessory prayers. Is that what you're referring to? So we can pray for others. Well, but Mark, I mean, I understand your argument. If God forgives all sins, then surely no one goes to hell. There's a difference between God forgiving sins and us asking for forgiveness. I mean, repentance was obviously something that was taught by John the Baptist, and not only John the Baptist, but even Christ himself. So we have to acknowledge the act that we did was evil, and we have to at least acknowledge and say, look, we need forgiveness. We ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness is given, but forgiveness is not forced upon us. Epikaya. Boy, this Epikaya, huh? Epikaya. What is epikaya? Epikaya means it's a benign interpretation of law. So it's a Greek term. And what that means, or the lawgiver. So for example, here's what it means. The stop sign was created for the sole purpose of you to stop, right? So you see a stop sign, the lawmakers created a sign and said, stop. Okay, we understand that. However, using the term ethical term called epikaya, benign interpretation of the lawgiver, means, for example, if you're in like a parking lot at Walmart, and it's at 3 a.m. and this Walmart closes at 10 p.m., whatever, there is a stop sign right in front of Walmart where people go in and out. And the doors are locked. No one is using the door. So the question then becomes, is the argument is with the term, can you legally or ethically run that stop sign? Well, ethically speaking, you can argue epikaya, because that stop sign no longer serves its purpose, because no one is entering and exiting the Walmart exit. Now, so because the lawmakers, when they created the stop sign concept, they could not foreshadow the possibility of a stop sign being in front of a Walmart entrance or exit when the doors are closed and no one is leaving. However, in saying that, if you are ever in a Walmart parking lot and you do see a stop sign and it is closed and you run it, you can try to argue epikaya, but the officer might look at you and say, what? And then give you a ticket. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying, you know. Yeah. Yeah, you repent for your sins. This is a good question. There's a lot of great questions. Someone is asking, if you have a doubtful conscience, are you obligated to give? That's a good question. Well, in ethics, there is a term called the second reflex principle. So here's what that means. The second reflex, and this is ethics, the second reflex principle says that a doubtful conscience does not bind. Now, this is ethics. So what that means is this. So, for example, if someone walks up to you and they're very intoxicated and they ask for money because they say they want to buy food, but you believe that the money that you would give them would only go to them buying more booze. The second reflex principle says that you do not ethically have to give them money because you feel that the money that you give them will only distribute or contribute to the destruction of their body by putting more alcohol into their system. But if your conscience is telling you, okay, you don't necessarily have to give them money, perhaps you can go to McDonald's and buy them, a Big Mac or something, then you certainly should do that. So that's where the difference comes in as far as ethics and morality with the term second reflex principle. So if someone comes to you and says, look, and they're intoxicated, you're convinced that they're going to buy booze and you don't want to contribute to that alcohol poisoning into the system, then you feel morally compelled to help in some way, then go buy them some McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. That absolutely, it would be perfectly, and I would, and I have. Okay. Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good stuff. Everything does have energy. Yeah. They say everything is energy, the law of vibration and frequency. Yeah, I believe everything. Everything is. I do believe it. No, is this a pre-recording? No, Border Fox. This is not a pre-recording. Or maybe this is, and I'm just an AI. No, it's not. I'm teasing with you. Just teasing. How can we be sure? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, you never know. Um, when it comes to laws of vibration and frequency, I will admit that my knowledge is rather limited. I mean, I can give it a go, but I think it would be, it may not be what you're looking for. I don't know. I can try to explain it to the best of my ability, but I think it would be limited. Yep, I have read the Satanic Bible. It's kind of hard because you kind of, look at all these questions here. Why read that? Well, I read it because I'm a theologian, and as a theologian, when people ask me about it and they say, "Well, this concept is here in the Satanic Bible. Can you explain it?" Well, yes, I can explain it. It's important. I'm not. I certainly didn't read it because I believe it. I read it because it's important for me as a theologian, as clergy, as a bishop to be able to explain it. I think it's certainly appropriate. But anyway, that's just my personal. There's a 2-week preparation. Oh gosh, I have a lot of verses. There's a lot of verses that I enjoy. I could heck I could. I have a lot. I mean, I love the Psalms. I mean, it would be unfair for me. I love Psalm 91. I love Psalm 23. I love Psalm 22, which, again, many people don't realize that Psalm 22 is about. People always ask, well, why did Jesus say that? Why did Jesus say, my God, why have you forsaken me? What's wrong with Jesus? If he knew that he actually was, did he have lack of faith? No, I've said this a million times before. Jesus was praying. He was fulfilling prophecy. Read Psalm 22. So if you read it, it's pretty powerful. If you read it, you'll understand why he was doing. He was praying. James, I'm very sorry that you're feeling sick. Yeah, I certainly will. I don't believe in third eye chakras and all that stuff. I don't. I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe it at all. Sorry, I just don't. I'm just not a big fan of these. That to me is a bit. I'm an open-minded kind of guy, but when you're talking about third eyes and all this other stuff, like no. Doing well. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I can't go into great detail, as I mentioned, about the laws of vibration and frequency because I just have limited knowledge. So I'll only explain what I know, and then if you know more, then jump in and help me out. So the laws of frequency and or vibration and frequency explain the relationship between vibrations and the corresponding frequency at which they occur. So they are fundamentally they are fundamental principles used in the study of physics. Okay, and even various phenomena, including sound, light. So the laws of vibration, when you're talking about that, that law states that everything in the universe is a constant state of vibration. All objects, all substances, and even the thoughts have their own vibrational frequency, according to this argument. The laws of frequency, and this law states that the frequency of a vibration is directly proportional to its energy. So, and the law of harmonics, if you will, that law states that vibrations can occur at multiple frequencies, and called harmonics, which are basically they're when you play a musical note, you also hear other faint notes that are harmonics of the fundamental frequency. So everything, according to this law of physics, releases some form of vibration and frequency. But I don't know exactly what the specific question was about that. You did, Mike? Well, that's wonderful. Block. Bye-bye. Sorry, I had to delete someone who is 50 years old and actually making crude comments. Unbelievable. 50 years old, you making, I don't. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm wide awake, so I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. How do you get rid of an evil entity? First of all, by knowing that an evil entity is not. You cannot victimize yourself. And you also know that when you call upon the name of Christ, that whatever evil entity that you think is attached to you trembles in fear. And so if you victimize yourself and think that you have no other option but to say, oh, I'm such a victim, then you will remain a victim. So you simply say, I will not be your victim. I call upon Jesus Christ. I command you to leave, and goodbye. What is wrong with Psalms 22? There's nothing wrong. No. There's nothing wrong with Psalm 22. Psalm 22, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? And people ask, well, why would he do that? That proves that he wasn't the Son of God. No, it proves that he was actually fulfilling prophecy by actually praying Psalm 22. So if you read Psalm 22, then you'll understand. That's what I mean by that. Mormons. I don't know a whole lot about Mormons as far as their faith. I know limited knowledge. They're also known as the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. There are several principles that they believe. They believe in and worship Jesus Christ as the Son of God, the Savior of the world. Mormons believe in the Book of Mormon as a sacred scripture alongside with the Bible. They believe that it's another testament of Christ. And they believe that it was revealed in ancient prophets in Americas. They believe that the gospel of, including his priesthood authority, teachings, ordinances, was lost or corrupted after the death of his apostles. So they believe in the early 19th century, God called Joseph Smith to restore the true gospel and establish his church. And Mormons believe that God continues to speak to his children through modern day prophets. They believe that the president of the church as a prophet, a seer, or a revealer, if you will. And Mormons believe in plan of salvation. They often refer to the plan of happiness. And there's other things that they believe. I'm not here to bash, and I don't do that. So there are some things that I don't believe in what the Mormons believe. That's okay. That's all right. Okay, well, okay, all right. Calm down. Just chill. Take a chill pill. So there's a question about John chapter 14, verse 28. And God Almighty is greater than Jesus. All right, okay, all right. Well, you got to really relax, man. You got to take some just some chill pill, man. Just take a Xanax. It's gonna be all right. Jesus does say that the Father is greater than him. But he also says that he and the Father are one. If you're going to use scripture to diminish Jesus' divinity, well, okay. He also says they're one. That's John chapter 10, verse 30. And Jesus also says that everything that the Father has is his. John chapter 16, verse 15. Don't forget that. So Jesus understood his own glory. Remember in John 17, verse 1 through 3, it said, glorify me with the same glory I had before the world began. Did you forget that part? John chapter 17, verse 1 through 3. Glorify me with the same glory I had before the world began. Jesus, for explanation, Jesus says that the Father is greater in terms of incarnation. The theology of the incarnation, that Jesus chose to humble himself by setting aside his own outward form of glory while still maintaining his divine nature. So by coming as a human being during his time before his resurrection and ascension. Okay? You're Catholic, you need my help. Okay, hello. There's a lot of people asking questions. I don't believe in the third eye. So why? Okay, so there's a question. Why would Jesus say that no one is good, including himself? Mark chapter 10, verse 18 is what you're referring to. Jesus did not say that he isn't good. Jesus is asking a question. The text actually says this, Mark chapter 10, verse 18. Why do you call me good? Don't you know that God alone is good? You see, Jesus is trying to get this person to see him only as a teacher, to understand that he is so much more greater than a teacher. So basically, it can be understood as Jesus saying, well, why are you only calling me a teacher? That's what Jesus is saying. So he's making a point. And the point is he's clearly stating that he's God. Okay. Isn't this supposed to be a paranormal topic? Nope, that was Friday. Today's open mic. People can ask theology questions. Today's open mic. Paranormal was Friday. No, that's a good question. I saw this purple collar with a black shirt and I liked it. So, I did hear about that experiment. Yeah, that the person loses 21 grams, and so yeah, it's yeah. It's pretty interesting. It's yeah. I talked about the divinity of Christ, and I talked about Jesus, and people always talk about that. Is the Trinity mentioned in the Scripture, and etc. I actually did a whole presentation of this. I mean, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word is God. I mean, let us make God in man in our image. So we clearly see the Trinity explicitly, as far as mentioning the term, no, but we understand, we absolutely 100% understand that there's plenty of evidence there that would show it's there. Oh goodness, you're the last cat. I'm so sorry. Oh, thank you. I'll have to. You like the color? I kind of liked it because it was it separated just all purple or all black. It's kind of something that I enjoyed. So, but I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. The concept absolutely is there. No question. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I mean, I don't. My goodness. We can go on and on and on. Yes, it does. Okay, but that doesn't reduce Jesus' divinity. So someone is saying, aha, I got you. John chapter 14, verse 28, someone is sending a messenger saying that God is greater than Jesus. And it says that in John chapter 14, verse 28. Okay, fine. So it says that. Jesus does say that the Father is greater than him. But he also says that he and the Father are one, as I just mentioned to you in John chapter 10, verse 30. So I just answered the question with the incarnation. Okay, good deal. Okay, yes, yeah, okay, fine. My God and your God. Yeah, John chapter 20, verse 17. I understand that. I understand the verse. I'm very, very aware of the verse. Yes, Jesus did say, my God and your God. But Jesus, and then a few sentences later, he receives worship from Thomas, who calls him what? My Lord and my God. And then Jesus actually affirms him. And not only that, but calls him blessed. Oh, boy. Well, I mean, if you're looking at contradictions does, I mean, with interpretation, it doesn't define then that the Bible is erroneous. Okay. Well, I do know some rabbis who do. Oh yeah, the Son of Man, huh? So you think that, so there's someone's asking, so you think that because Jesus said he's the Son of Man, that proves that he's not God? That would be incorrect. That would be incorrect. Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. But remember, you have to understand that Jesus was talking to the Jews in the first century. So when Jews of the first century heard the term Son of Man, they would have immediately thought of the Son of Man as the exalted Messiah. Why? From the prophet Daniel in Daniel chapter 7, verse 13 through 14. And not only that, and that this is when Jesus clearly quoted Daniel chapter 7 to the Jewish leaders. They condemned himself to death for blasphemy by calling himself God. Don't you remember this in Mark chapter 14, verse 61 through 64? Because the high priest basically said, hey, are you the Messiah? Are you the Son of the Blessed One? And Jesus then replied, I am. Well, there's a reason why he said, I am. And he said, you'll see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming in the clouds of heaven. And that's when the priest tore his clothes and we don't need any more witnesses. And this is blasphemy. Jesus made it very clear he was the Messiah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yes, Jesus died. Have I seen the shroud? I have not. I have not seen the shroud. Yep, absolutely, he did. Okay, but that doesn't diminish Jesus' divinity. Okay, here's why. Let me ask you this question. When you die, does your soul die? It doesn't? Oh. So Jesus' spirit wasn't destroyed when he died on the cross. See, he kept existing as he descended to the dead for 3 days, and then his spirit rose again in a new given body. So did the physical body of Jesus die? Yes. Did Jesus' spirit die? No. Any more than your spirit will die when you pass away. Your body will die, but your spirit does not. So you're getting confused. You're saying that God cannot die, but you're getting confused with the incarnation. The physical body certainly did, but the spirit does not. So that's where you're getting the error in your thinking. Now, the Dybbuk actually, historically, the Dybbuk box was just a wine cooler, not a wine cooler, a wine container, if you will. That's the history of the Dybbuk box, actually. Actually, I did a presentation on that. Jesus fulfilling all the prophecies. I did a presentation on that. I should do that. I should do another I should do another one like that again, because it was a very powerful presentation that I did on Jesus fulfilling the prophecies, and maybe I'll do that again. Because that's a big presentation. I might have to do that. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm winding down here because it's been a long time. Because Satan has already been judged. The idea that you're going to change, that Satan is going to repent is not possible. He's already been judged and condemned. Yeah, I'll figure. I can't. I'll have to do that. I'll do the presentation again, and because it's a huge presentation that I did. Yeah, I'll do another one. Okay. Yeah, it's speculation. No, I don't think Jesus was married. No, I do not. I don't think Jesus had children. There's nothing. Here's the deal: if Jesus had children, then certainly the historians who are non-Christian writers would have written about Jesus' lineage. So we see nothing. We see absolutely nothing from non-Christian historical writers that says anything about Jesus being married or having children, and we certainly would have. But there's nothing there. Yeah, even in Flavius Josephus or any of the non-Christian Jewish writers or writers, period, we just see nothing there. So I'm not a fan of that. Okay, I've been here since 8 o'clock. It's been here for a long time. For those of you who are in Spreaker, I'm going to say good night to you guys. I'm going to remind everybody that we're here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bible study. So everybody's saying it's fine. I don't know. Everybody's saying that the mic is good. Yeah, I'm not really for sure what the. Yeah, I'm not for sure. It must be on your end, so I really don't know. For those of you who don't know, tomorrow I will be here, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Miss Wilma will be teaching our kids' Bible study. Yeah, I've been here since 8 o'clock, guys, and I have to get up at 4, so long day tomorrow. And so join us. We'd love to have you. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With Miss Wilma. If you have any kids and you want them to have Bible study, well, join us there. That would be fantastic. I try to answer I answered quite a few questions tonight, quite a few. Remember, we stopped with Miss Wilma at 8:30. So I've answered questions for 2 hours. The reason is I do that is because I don't have time to go, and I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful. I don't have time to go through 16,000 emails. So, see, 16,000 emails. So I do, that's why I come on here and I do these long lives, because it is a way to try to answer as many questions as I can with the limited time that I have. And that's why I do that. Okay. For those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok, remember, I tell you, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. Remember, you're priceless. Don't let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. So Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, God bless. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m.